here. Both of you guys are ready to proceed with your trial, correct? Okay. I've been provided a copy of the team roster. First, I want to go over a couple of things which I'm sure you're familiar with. We've got a video recorder present here. Is everybody okay with that? If anybody has any objection, let me know. Okay? I want to remind you all of the importance of showing respect for all of the teams and everyone here, so please no visual or rolling of the eyes or any of that kind of stuff. Be supportive of everyone who's here in the courtroom. I want to remind the witnesses that you are permitted to testify only to the information that is in your fact situation, your witness statements, and what can be reasonably inferred from that information. You must complete your presentation within the specified time limits, and the bailiff is going to signal you for each segment at the 3-minute, 1-minute warning, and a 0-minute warning. And at the end of the segment, you'll be stopped when your time is run out, whether you're finished or not. All of the witnesses must be called, and only the following items may be offered as evidence. A, which is the diagram of the high school, B, which is Casey Campbell's Our Place page, and C, which is the diagram of the device. And can I get the bailiff and the clerk ready for your opening statements? Prosecution.
Your Honor, at this time we would like to introduce the prosecution.
Thank you.
My name is Sarah Schultz, and I will be delivering the opening statement as well as conducting the direct examination of Sawyer Simpson and the cross-examination of Dr. Avery Atkinson.
My name is Emma Resk, and I will be conducting the direct examinations of Detective Roy Riley and Dr. Kyle Killian, as well as conducting the cross-examination of Counselor Cameron Courthouse.
My name is Rachel Dawson, and I will be conducting the cross-examination of Casey Campbell, and I will also be delivering the closing argument.
We would also like to introduce our witnesses. My name is Sarah Schultz, and I am Roy Riley.
My name is Emma Resk, and I am Sawyer Simpson.
My name is Rachel Dawson, and I am Dr. Kyle Killian.
Your Honor, the prosecution requests permission to move the courtroom freely.
Permission granted. Next, please.
Hi, this is the defense, and I would like to represent our people. I am Isabel Pena Venegas, and I will be doing the opening statement as well as the closing.
My name is Gina Benavides, and I will be the defense and direct attorney on the expert witnesses.
Your Honor, my name is Gloria de la Rosa. I will be the direct examination for Detective Rudy, also the cross-examination for Cameron Cortez.
My name is Eric Mendoza. I'll be doing the direct examination for Casey Campbell and the cross-examination for Sawyer Simpson.
We ask permission to roam the court, Your Honor.
Permission granted. Okay, we're ready to go. Opening statements, please.
To terrorize is to cause a person of ordinary emotions and sensibilities to fear for personal safety. A 17-year-old girl by the name of Casey Campbell was a girl of pent-up frustration. Her grades were dropping, and she became a target for being picked on. Angered by this, her counselor suggested venting this frustration through art. It started as simple photographs that she edited, but soon turned into imagery of roaring flames erupting from her school and classmates of hers burning alive. She then followed this by threatening her fellow student, Miss Sawyer Simpson, who offered her to sit with her at lunch one day. She said, "You'll be sorry you ever picked on me." The following morning, a bomb was found, placed in a garbage bin nearby the eating area of Miss Sawyer Simpson and her friends. Luckily, the police found the bomb and disabled it before it could harm any of the student body. The morning the bomb was found, Casey Campbell was in her chemistry classroom, unsupervised. She then walked by the janitor's closet and towards the dining patio where the bomb was found. She looked in the garbage bin without throwing anything away, scanned the area, and left without a word. The components of the bomb are as follows: paint thinner, a substance often used by aspiring artists; doxine, a common industrial cleaner, often found in the closets of janitors; an ignition strip, often found in chemistry classrooms; and a cheap watch, easily obtainable by a member of the student body. Anyone with any mind to make such an explosive is obviously a threat. It is a threat to Park Lane High School that anyone should have any intent to harm any other student. Paint thinner and doxine are dangerous enough chemicals on their own, and alone are irritating to the skin. But together, they make a dangerous chemical, dangerous enough to blow the entire side of Park Lane High School. None of Casey Campbell's peers would have any reason to make such an explosive. In fact, students such as Sawyer Simpson had her senior privileges on the line. A specific reason why to stay away from such dangerous chemicals, such as paint thinner or doxine. Casey Campbell had nothing to lose. We are here today to prove that Casey Campbell placed this bomb in the trash bin in the dining patio the morning of April 7th with an intent to kill. Being the obscure artist she is, Casey Campbell had unlimited access to all of the resources needed in the making of this bomb. She had resources, a motivation, and according to her Our Place page, an interest in pyrotechnics. Her counselor says that fantasy can be a good way to escape from reality. It shall be unlawful to deposit in any place of public assemblage any liquid or matter of any kind which is injurious or even irritating to any of the senses. This fantasy has gone too far. We ask the jury to bring this case back into reality and to charge Casey Campbell for her crimes of unlawful terrorization.
May it please the court, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Isabel Pena Venegas, and I'll be representing the defendant in this court. I would like to remind you about reasons and rules that apply to this case. First, the defendant, Casey Campbell, is presumed to be innocent. Second, the state has the burden to prove the guilt of my defendant beyond a reasonable doubt. In this case, the state's evidence will fail to prove the defendant's guilt for the following reasons. First, state's evidence will not show beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant planted the device in Park Lane High School. Second, state's evidence will not show beyond a reasonable doubt that the device was capable of igniting or exploding. Today, we will call in 3 witnesses. First, we'll call in Cameron Cortez. She will testify that she observed Sawyer Simpson in vicinity of the public phone booth within minutes that the detective received the call of the device found in the garbage can. She will also testify that Casey had made visits to her office in regards that Sawyer Simpson was bullying her. She will also add a previous experience of a student who unfortunately left the school after being accused of vandalism in the school. After investigations, it was proven that the student was innocent and was framed. Cortez had curiosity of this, so she decided to call in the student who was accused. She asked him, "Who is capable of doing such a frame?" The student replied, "Sawyer Simpson." She will also say that she had suspicions that Sawyer Simpson was in fact a bully and could have himself made the graffiti. Next, we will call on Dr. Avery Atkinson. He is a highly qualified chemist with an MS and PhD from Stanford University, and he was also a consultant of the Secretary of Defense. He will testify that he found a flaw in Dr. Killian's test. That flaw, he said he found, consisted of pure oxygen being pumped into the lab where the device was being tested in. He will also testify that the device found was incapable of igniting or exploding. Next, and lastly, we will call Casey Campbell. Casey Campbell is a student who is worried about her grades because of the bullying that has happened. It has lowered her grades and in particular almost made her fail chemistry. She will also testify of the harassment that Sawyer had made her go through, being pushed into corners, having her face on a picture of a donkey, and also having to have having to almost have failed her classes. So Casey was worried, a worried student trying to vent out this frustration. How did she do it? Her passion. She liked to be an artist. She had future foresight that she wanted to be an artist. And so she vented that way. She decided to do paintings. She decided to do Salvador Dali. And so she continued to her venting. She never knew that the paint thinner she used to paint her brushes was going to be used against her. That is what all artists have to clean their paintbrushes. As the trial goes on, I caution you to listen to all the testimonies closely and to listen to all the evidence that will show that Casey Campbell, my client, is innocent. Thank you.
Prosecution, are you ready on your first witness?
The prosecution calls Detective Roy Riley to the stand.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you promise that the testimony you are about to give will faithfully and truthfully conform to the facts and rules of the mock trial competition?
Yes.
Please be seated and state your name for the court and spell your last.
My name is Rory, R-I-L-E-Y.
What is your job?
I have been a detective at Parkland High School, or Parkland Police Department, for the past 13 years.
And how did you become involved with this case?
I was working the tip line when at 12:23, a anonymous call was made from a payphone nearby Parkland High School.
And what did the caller tell you?
He only managed to tell me that there was a strange container in a trash can.
So what did you do next?
I thought that this might have been a prank, but I went to go to the high school to investigate because we take these matters very seriously.
And what happened when you investigated?
Nothing initially. I looked around and there were nothing in any of the garbage bins until I arrived at the dining patio.
What was at the dining patio?
There were a total of 2 trash cans, and there was nothing in the first that I looked in, but in the second there was a clear container.
What was in the container?
Inside of this clear container there was a liquid, and strapped to it was a watch.
So what happened next?
Well, I determined from this watch that it was a time bomb, so I called the bomb squad to have it investigated.
And what did the bomb squad do?
They disabled the bomb, and they had the bomb tested for any fingerprints.
And what were the results?
There were no fingerprints on the bomb, but they did find in the liquid was a combination of doxine and paint thinner.
So after you found out the results, what happened next?
The next morning, a student named Sawyer Simpson came to talk to me about some suspicious behavior.
What was the suspicious behavior?
He had noticed a boy that had walked by the garbage bin in which this bomb was placed and scanned the area and leave.
So what did you do next?
I thought that I should go to Casey Campbell's house and I would investigate his house to see if there was any evidence I could find against him.
What did you find in her house?
In her house, I found an almost empty container of paint thinner with her fingerprints on it, which was later found was a substance used in the bomb.
Was there anything else that you found?
In Casey Campbell's room, there was a multitude of very obscure paintings.
And what did these paintings include?
They included Parkland High School on fire, as well as students and peers of hers burning alive.
So what did you do next?
I thought that this was the appropriate amount of information to arrest Casey Campbell.
No further questions, Sarah.
Good afternoon, Detective Riley.
Good afternoon.
Detective Riley, on April 7, 2012, at 12:23 p.m., you received a call, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Is it true that the call received in a hurry?
I suppose.
Is it true that their first reaction was that the call was just a prank call?
That was my first impression, yes.
Didn't you went to Casey's house to search her house?
Not directly after, but yes.
Okay. Bet you found some painting, all of different variety of things, didn't you?
A variety of things, but all with a very obscure twist to them, yes.
Isn't it true that there were family portraits, also nature?
There were pictures of his family, yes.
Is it true that there were a variety of art supplies?
There were multiple art supplies in his room, yes.
Is it true that paint thinner is a common art supply?
I suppose, but even though it could have been used for art, that does not mean it could not have been used for the making of a bomb.
After that,
The prosecution calls Dr. Kyle Killian.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you promise that the testimony you are about to give will faithfully and truthfully conform to the facts and rules of the mock trial competition?
Yes.
Please be seated and state your name for the court and spell your last.
My name is Dr. Kyle Killian, Killian.
What is your job, Dr. Killian?
I'm currently a bomb technician at the Park Lane County Hazardous Devices Unit.
How long have you been working there?
I've been working there for the past 20 years, and I've been the supervisor there for almost 6.
What is your educational background?
I have a Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering from Oregon State University, and I have a Master's of Science and PhD in Biochemistry, both from MIT.
What other work have you done?
I regularly lecture at police academies and at major universities throughout the United States.
Do you have any other expertise in this area?
I'm the author of the field guide used by many of the nation's bomb squads, ranging from topics such as time bombs to the chemical composition of explosives.
How did you become involved with this case?
On April 7th, 2012, my team and I were called to Park Lane High School. We arrived at the scene around 1 p.m. where we were detected to a trash can by Detective Riley, which contained a time bomb.
What did the time bomb look like?
It was a clear plastic container, cylinder in shape.
How could you tell that it was a time bomb?
I could tell it was a time bomb from the clear liquid on the inside and from the watch and igniter strip attached to the outside.
Was there anything else on the time bomb?
There was just a regular watch with an analog display, but both the minute and second hands were missing.
What could you tell from this information?
From this information, I made the observation that the bomb could have been set up to detonate 12 hours prior to the detonation time. And from the arrangement of wires connected to the watch, I determined that the bomb was set to go off at 3 p.m.
So what did you do next?
With full gear on, I dismantled the bomb and took it back to my team's lab.
And what did you do with the bomb at the lab?
In the lab, I placed the bomb in an airtight detonation chamber and punctured a large hole into it.
What happened when you punctured a hole?
Initially, nothing happened at first, but I then pumped a solution of oxygen into the chamber, and there's an instantaneous release of gas.
What would have happened if the liquid had been exposed to oxygen?
If the liquid had been exposed to oxygen, there would have been this release of gas.
And what would have happened if the bomb had stayed at the school?
If the bomb had stayed at the school, the igniter strip would have burned a hole into the outside of the container, introducing the outside air to the liquid on the inside.
When you first saw the bomb, what did you notice about how it was made?
I noticed that it was very amateurly made. Anyone could have made this bomb, even someone failing a chemistry class. And I noticed that the contents on the inside were doxine and paint thinner.
What is doxine?
Doxine is a common industrial cleaner.
Is doxine dangerous?
Like all strong cleaners, doxine should be handled with care, for it can be very irritating to the eyes, skin, and digestive tract.
Now, was the bomb by itself without it exploding at all dangerous?
The bomb by itself was dangerous, for the release of a strong-smelling gas at a school full of people would create a panic. Someone would have been hurt.
Dr. Killian, as a professional bomb technician, how dangerous would you say the bomb would be if it did explode?
If the bomb had exploded, it would have been powerful enough to blow up the entire side of Park Lane High School's cafeteria, and it would have seriously injured or killed anyone within a 60-foot radius.
No further questions.
Permission for cross, Your Honor?
Go ahead.
Is the experimenting on this device appropriate for the conditions that it was received in?
Of course it was.
Do you agree that in a regular atmosphere there's a rough distribution of about 21% oxygen?
Of course I do. That is why I use a mixture.
Excuse me, I'm just asking for
Objection.
yes or no questions.
Please let my
What's
witness,
your objection?
my witness please continue when she please answer the question.
Response, Your Honor? The witness is not supposed to be giving narratives based on a yes or no question.
It is sustained objection.
Okay. So, do you agree that, please tell the jury where you found this device. Please tell the jury where you found the device.
I found the device in Park Lane High School.
Can you, do you agree that you tested this device in an airtight chamber? Yes or no?
I did, yes.
Do you really find it appropriate to test this device in an airtight chamber when the atmosphere only contains 21%?
Well, that is why I pumped a solution of oxygen
Do you find it
identical to that.
appropriate? Do you find it appropriate? That was the question.
Well, yes, of course, with the experiment that I
Okay,
did.
then would you agree that you amplified the reaction?
Not at all. Not with the mixture I used.
So if the oxygen has a slow...
My witness is still not able to.
Excuse me, is there objection?
Yes, I'm sorry, my witness is still not able to answer the question.
Your response?
The witness did answer the question. It was a yes or no.
I'm going to overrule the objection. Go ahead.
So, with the device, okay, so you agree that the atmosphere is about 21%. You pumped a continuous stream of pure oxygen into this device, and that somehow didn't amplify the reaction in any way whatsoever.
Well, because I did not pump pure oxygen. I pumped a solution of oxygen which is identical to that of the outside environment.
Are you sure about that?
I'm quite positive I did the experiment myself.
Okay. So you dismantled the device.
I did.
And is it true that you estimated a time of 3:00 p.m. for the device to detonate?
Yes, I was able to conclude that from the arrangement of wires.
Yes or no?
I said yes.
Okay. And how is that possible when the device was the device crude, yes or no?
Yes, it was very amateurly
Okay.
made.
Okay. And so with the crude device, as I recall you saying, you looked at your watch that was on your wrist and compared it, just, briefly compared it. And how is that accurate to look at your wrist and then look at the time device that was so crudely and amateurly made? And it's missing a second and a minute hand. It could vary by an hour, right? But you guessed the precise time of 3:00 p.m. Is that not correct?
I did because of the arrangement of the wires and that the time on the watch, the hour hand matched that on my clock.
You believed it to match the time on your clock.
Yes.
Okay. No further questions, Your Honor. Thank you.
Your Honor, the prosecution requests Sir Simpson to stand.
Please raise your right hand. Do you promise that the testimony you are about to give will faithfully and truthfully conform to the facts and rules of the mock trial competition?
Yes.
Please be seated and state your name for the court and spell your last.
My name is Sari Simpson, Simpson.
What is your name?
Sari Simpson.
And where do you go to school?
I go to Park Lane High School. I'm a senior there.
Could you tell me about your friends?
I've had the same group of friends for a while. We're a pretty tight-knit group. Some of the kids at the school call us the crew. We're kind of considered a popular crowd.
Where do your friends meet?
Well, ever since freshman year, we've met at the same spot after school, at the dining patio by the cafeteria. It's kind of our spot.
Do you know Casey Campbell?
Yes, we've been going to the same school for a while, and we've had a couple classes.
How would you describe your interactions with Casey?
Sometimes I'd see her walking home from school and I'd shout away or say a joke when she was around to get her attention, but she didn't seem to like me. I think that Casey misinterpreted some of my actions. I never would have told anyone, but because I had a reputation to uphold, but I liked Casey a lot.
Do you mean to say that you had feelings for Miss Campbell?
Yes.
Let's talk about the day of the incident. What, if anything, did you observe of the morning of the event?
Well, I got to school at 6:45 because I had to take a test, and I had seen that Casey was at the dining patio, and she was looking into one of the trash cans, and I saw that she looked over her shoulder and scanned the area and then walked away.
What happened after that?
The rest of the morning was pretty normal until I saw the police detective pull into the parking lot.
When did you see the detective?
When I went to go get my English textbook for my car, and it was towards the end of lunch.
When did you become aware that there was a bomb threat to the school?
There was an alarm that went off, and everyone was told to evacuate the building, and everyone was freaking out.
What did you do the day of the bomb threat?
Well, my father took me to go to the police department, and I talked to Detective Riley.
What led you to go to the police station?
Well, that morning I woke up and I thought about all of the crazy events that happened that day. I mean, who would want to bomb a school? And then I remembered how I was looking at Casey's Our Place page one time, and I saw that there was a bunch of pictures of Park Lane High School in flames, and a bunch of people, and me and my friends trying to get out of the building. And then I also remembered that she listed pyrotechnics as a hobby, and the bomb was at the dining patio. And so I started to wonder that maybe the bomb was meant for me and my friends.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor. On the day of the incident, you arrived early to school,
Yes.
and you arrived at 6:45.
Yes, to take a test.
You were walking towards the patio.
Yeah, when I saw.
You answered my question.
Yes.
You said you saw Casey near the trash can by the patio,
Yes.
and did you see her throw anything in there?
No, I did not.
And did you know Casey arrived at school at 7?
No, I just saw her.
Objection, relevance?
Response? I'm gonna overrule the objection. Go ahead.
You arrived early to make up a test,
Yes.
and your test only takes you 30 minutes.
Yes.
And school starts at 7:30, right?
Yes, that's correct.
So you had 15 minutes extra.
I guess so.
Do you have a good behavior?
Yeah.
Have you ever tolerated someone? Have you ever harassed someone?
I think that some people have misinterpreted my actions, but no, I didn't.
So have you harassed someone?
Not intentional.
Okay, but you got called down to Cortez's room, right?
Yes.
You got called down for supposedly harassing someone.
Yes, that is what she said. There were some concerns.
And she said she would take away your privileges from school
Yes.
if she heard another complaint.
Yes.
Objection, hearsay? Your response.
It is not hearsay because it was stated in the statement from Cortez.
Cortez is not the body of woman. I don't.
I'll sustain the objection.
So you ate at the patio during lunch,
Yes.
and you had your book at your car.
Yes.
Your car was at the student lot,
Yes.
and you went to go pick up your book, right?
Yes.
And there's a payphone next to the student lot.
I guess so, yes.
And after you picked up your book, you went back to your class,
Yes.
but you were running late, right?
Yes, I
And are you good at chemistry?
was. Yes.
You got in the Chemist of the Year award,
Yes, that is correct.
and after school you hang out at the patio, right?
Yeah.
You hang out with your friends.
Mm-hmm.
They're called the crew.
Yes.
You see Casey walk through there after school,
Yes.
and she wants her to get home every day, right?
Yes.
That's all, Your Honor. No further questions?
Will you redirect?
No, Your Honor. May our witness be excused?
Yes.
Yes, Your Honor, the defense would like to call Dr. Avery Atkinson to the stand.
Dr. Atkinson?
Please raise your right hand. Do you promise that the testimony you are about to give will faithfully and truthfully conform to the facts and rules of the mock trial competition?
Yes.
Please be seated and state your name for the court and spell your last.
Avery Atkinson, Atkinson.
Hi, Dr. Atkinson. Would you please tell the jury your current position and title?
I'm the head scientist for leading weapons manufacturing.
And could you please tell the jury about the education and training that you've had to receive such high rankings?
I have a bachelor's in mechanical engineering from Oregon State University. I also have a master's and PhD in chemistry from Stanford University.
Have you ever had any experience publishing or being a consultant?
Yes, I've been the consultant for the Secretary of Defense, and I published many articles in scientific journals.
Didn't you also do some work helping the military of some sort?
Yes, I helped the military make procedures for how to handle explosives.
Dr. Atkinson, were you asked to examine the timepiece at Park Lane High School?
Yes, I was.
And what can you tell us about that timepiece?
The timepiece was very crude. It was missing the second and minute hand. In addition, the hour of detonation would vary from 1 hour from Dr. Killian's estimate.
And did you make any observations about the wiring?
Yes, I noticed when I was handling the device, the wiring was
Why?
the wiring was disassembled by the Park Lane bomb squad.
And did you, Dr. Atkinson, did you review the Park Lane's bomb squad, their lab
Objection,
results?
please.
Okay, I'll rephrase my question. So did you review any lab results?
Yes, I did.
And can you tell us about those lab results?
I agree with Dr. Killian's observation that it was in fact doxine and paint thinner in the device. However, I think, in my opinion, that Dr. Killian's estimate of the effects of the bomb were overestimated.
And what can you also tell us about the power supply that was on this timepiece?
The power supply in this device was a D-size battery. This is not enough to make a current of power to ignite the solution. In addition, pure oxygen or a mixture of oxygen was pumped in to the device in the Park Lane bomb squad, which made it react. and in the normal atmosphere, there's only 21% of oxygen.
Dr. Atkinson, based on your review of the lab results and your examining of the timepiece, tell the jury, do you have an opinion on whether this device was capable of exploding?
Yes.
Can you tell us that opinion?
Without strong enough power supply and the correct concentration of oxygen, this device would not explode. It would just be it would just burn a little hole in the plastic container, which would cause a bad smell. And in short words, this is a elaborate stink bomb.
Elaborate stink bomb. Thank you, Your Honor. Do you have any questions? Ross?
You were not on the bomb squad that came to Parkley on April 7th, were you?
No.
And you didn't have access to the bomb before it was dismantled?
No.
And later, you only had access to the timepiece, correct?
In the bomb. In the device.
Are you saying you had access to the bomb?
I had access to the device.
You had access to the timepiece.
Oh, yes.
I'm going to show the witness what has been marked as Exhibit C for identification. Your Honor, may I approach the witness?
Go ahead.
Dr. Atkinson, I am handing you Exhibit C. This is a diagram of the bomb found at Park Lane High School, correct?
Yes.
And you were presented with this diagram upon the start of this case, correct?
Yes.
This document is a fair and accurate representation of the document you received?
Yes.
Your Honor, we offer Exhibit C into evidence.
Is there any objection?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, it's admitted.
The bomb is composed of a clear container, a liquid inside the container, duct tape, metal ignition strip, wires, a battery, and a watch. Is that correct?
Yes.
Did you see the container?
No.
Did you have access to the liquid inside the container?
Objection, Your Honor, relevance?
It's relevant to show. He did not see the bomb, ergo his credibility is questioned.
I'm going to sustain the objection.
Did you see the ignition strip?
No.
Did you see the way the wires were connected to the battery?
They were unconnected.
They were unconnected when they were given to you, but you did not see them when they were connected to the bomb, correct?
No.
And did you see how the wires were connected to the ignition strip?
No. The wires were unconnected.
So you did not see the bomb, you only saw the timepiece.
Yes.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Is there any redirect?
No, Your Honor.
Okay.
Thank you.
May step down.
Please raise your right hand. Do you promise that the testimony you're about to give will faithfully and truthfully conform to the facts and rules of the mock trial competition?
Yes.
Please be seated and state your name for the court and spell your last.
My name is Carmen Cortez, C-O-R-T-E-Z.
Good afternoon, Ms. Cortez.
Good afternoon.
Ms. Cortez, can you please start by introducing yourself to the jury?
I'm Carmen Cortez. I'm 31 years old. I've been the counselor at Parkland High School for the past 5 years.
Ms. Cortez, have you ever spoken to Casey Campbell?
Yeah, I've spoken with Casey Campbell many times during his high school career. I helped him decide what classes to take, and also I helped him to develop plans so he can get into college.
Do you have a reason to believe that she's bullied at school?
Yes.
Did her grades drop off?
Yeah, her grades dropped significantly.
Ms. Cortez, is art good for students such as Casey Campbell to express their feelings?
Yes.
Ms. Cortez, can you please tell us the issue when Brady was accused of vandalizing the school?
Last year, a student named Brady was accused of vandalizing the school during the end of the first semester.
Your Honor, this effect is not for the witness of the truth. It's not for the truth of the matter.
Any response?
This is a past event. This is not about the case, this case.
I'll sustain the objection.
Just for the questions, Your Honor.
Cross?
Casey Campbell have been telling you that he was having some trouble, that she was having some trouble in school, is that correct?
Yes.
And that she was having some trouble with the crew?
Yes.
And you talked to Sawyer Simpson about this?
Yes.
But before you talked to Sawyer Simpson, you were keeping a close eye on her?
Yeah.
Even though you never found any evidence that Sawyer Simpson had ever bullied anyone?
No.
Casey Campbell had been having trouble in school, and among these was a significant drop on her report card?
Yes.
So you recommended that Casey Campbell use art to get her mind off of the crew?
Yeah, students should have an outlet, which is art.
You also said that drawing and painting was a good way to get out a lot of built-up frustration and anger?
Yes.
Would you say that Casey Campbell does art a lot?
Yes, he's an artist. She's an
Would you say that Casey Campbell relies on art and painting to get out a lot of the anger and frustration she has about the crew?
Yes.
No further questions.
Can you redirect?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Sit down. Call your next witness.
Please raise your right hand. Do you promise that the testimony you're about to give will faithfully and truthfully conform to the facts and rules of the mock trial competition?
Yes.
Please be seated and state your name for the court. Spell your last.
Casey Campbell, C-A-P-B-E-L-L.
Casey, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I am 17 years old. I go to Park Lane High School. I live in 1016 Calle Vista with my mom, my dad, and my younger brother.
Can you tell us your experience in high school?
My experiences in high school have been pretty typical until this year. I've been in honor roll every semester except for this most recent one.
What has caused that sudden change?
I've been getting picked on by the crew, especially a guy named Sawyer. That's what's been distracting me.
And what does the crew do to you?
They shoved me into lockers. They've called me names. And most recently, they draw a picture of my face on the body of a donkey.
Do you know if you're the only person that has been picked on by the crew, or is there someone else?
No, last year, the crew's target was
Objection, relevance?
Your response?
Response.
I'll overrule the objection. Go ahead.
Last year's target was Brandon.
And how do you deal with being bullied?
I usually express all my feelings through my paintings.
And have you talked to anybody about this?
Yes, my counselor, Mrs. Cameron Cortez.
And what did she tell you to do?
She told me to continue drawing.
Objection, hearsay.
It's not hearsay because it's stated in Casey Campbell statement that Cortez told her to do.
I'll overrule the objection. Go ahead.
She told me to continue on drawing so I can deal with my frustration.
And what kind of drawings do you do?
I usually do drawings of Park Lane and nature.
And do you keep the drawings to yourself, or do you post them somewhere?
I keep some of them to myself, and some I upload them on my art place page.
And so, can you tell us why you told Sawyer that you'll be sorry you ever picked on me?
Well, one day I was walking home from school, and he was calling me names as usual, And the first thing that came to my mind was, you'll be sorry for ever picking on me. I never thought of saying anything, but it just came out. I wanted to stand up for myself for once.
And were you the one that planted the bomb in the trash can?
Of course not. I barely even have time to finish my work so I can catch up.
And can you tell us about the paint thinner in your house?
The paint thinner is usually in my garage. I use it to clean up my messes after I paint.
That is all, Your Honor. Further questions?
Thank you. Ross?
You were on honor roll every year until this year, correct?
Yes.
And the drop in your grades was a result of the crew's behavior?
Yes.
After an encounter with the crew, you couldn't focus on your homework, correct?
Of course.
You were harassed?
Yes.
You found a picture on your locker of your face on the body of a donkey, correct?
Yes.
And for days, people would laugh and point at you as you passed them in the hallway.
Correct.
Art was a way for you to vent your frustration, correct?
Yes.
And your counselor recommended this to you?
Yes.
As well as art, you listed pyrotechnics as an interest on your Our Place page. Is that correct?
Yeah.
You eat lunch in the chemistry classroom, correct?
Yes.
Unsupervised?
Yes.
You stated that you use paint thinner to clean your paintbrushes. Now, did you not also say that the smell of the paint thinner was so strong that you thought the whole neighborhood could smell it from your backyard?
Yeah.
Let's get back to the bullying. Didn't you say that you wished the bullying would stop?
Yes.
And that you often imagine there was something you can do about it, and then you draw or paint to express those feelings?
It never comes up to me that it would become true.
And you said to Sawyer, you will be sorry you ever picked on me.
I was hurt.
But you didn't explain that to the crew, did you?
No.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you. Is there any recap?
Yes, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
You stated that you almost failed chemistry this year.
Yes.
And how can you have a good understanding of pyrotechnics if you almost failed chemistry, and chemistry is what you need to know, the basics to know about pyrotechnics?
I really don't have a clear understanding, and if I did, I wouldn't be failing chemistry.
Thank you. That is all, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Any recross?
There will be no recross needed, Your Honor.
Are there any further witnesses for the defense? We're ready for closing statement.
The students at Parkland High School were stricken with terror as an average day at school turned into a scene from a horror movie. The alarm in the school went off around lunchtime, so the confused students evacuated the building, only to find a bomb squad had pulled into their school parking lot. This was no practice drill, though. A bomb was found on school property with the intent to kill the innocent students within the school. The students were given permission at that time to go home, but though they left school, the realization that this bomb could have killed them did not leave their minds. Terrorism is causing someone to have fear for their personal safety. We have proven that Ms. Campbell terrorized these students, along with placing an offensive substance in a public area and attempting to explode a destructive device with the intent to commit murder. This bomb was created by Casey Campbell. Ms. Campbell was extensively bullied in school by the crew. The crew made Casey's life miserable by constantly calling her names and gossiping about her. Ms. Campbell has an interest in pyrotechnics, an obsession with fire and explosions. She painted violent pictures of her school and of Sawyer Simpson on fire. She had these photos on her Our Place page and had journals filled with them. She threatened Sawyer Simpson one day saying, "You will be sorry you ever picked on me." This information we have laid before you is why we know without reasonable doubt that Casey Campbell had the intent to kill. Miss Campbell was mentally pushed over the edge. She was a kid that had had enough. The bomb was set to go off around 3 when the crew met in their hangout place after school. This bomb was intended to go off. It was intended for the crew, and it was intended to kill. Casey Campbell had malice aforethought. She was a kid who had had enough. We have proven today that the contents of the bomb consisted of doxine and paint paint thinner. Miss Campbell has a can of almost empty paint thinner with her fingerprints on it in her possession. Doxine is a common industrial cleaner that can be found in most schools and is easily accessible. Miss Campbell eats her lunch in her chemistry classroom alone every single day at lunch. She had the opportunity and the parts to construct this bomb. As stated by Dr. Killian today, this bomb was very amateurly made. Anyone could have constructed it, even someone failing a chemistry class. Also said by Dr. Killian, this bomb would have been dangerous even if it did not explode, for the release of a strong smelling gas into a school full of people would create a panic. Someone would have been hurt. In all actuality, though, this bomb did not need to go off. This bomb did not need to kill. Miss Campbell intended to use the bomb to kill, and that is enough to prove these charges. Miss Campbell was seen lurking around the area the bomb was found, early before school that morning. Sawyer Simpson claimed that she saw Miss Campbell look into the garbage can, and without throwing anything away, scan the area to see if anyone was watching. Miss Campbell knew that if this bomb had exploded, it would kill the crew and possibly other students. She placed the bomb there with the intent to kill. Members of the jury, there were innocent children inside that school. Children who would have been seriously injured if this bomb had gone off. Many would have died and would have never had the chance to see their families again. The person at fault here is, without a reasonable doubt, Casey Campbell. There is no telling what crime she could commit if she leaves this trial uncharged. The prosecution today has proven all of Miss Campbell's charges, which again are placing an offensive substance in a public area, terrorism, and attempting to explode a destructive device with the intent to commit murder. You have the ability to see the facts and the evidence that the prosecution has placed before you and convict this criminal. You have a chance to prevent this crime from happening again. You have a chance to protect the children at Park Lane High School. We request that you return with a verdict that the defendant is guilty on all charges, the defendant being Casey Campbell, the kid who simply had enough.
Thank you. Defense.
As you know, my name is Isabel Pena-Venegas, representing the defendant. As I mentioned in my opening statement, Casey Campbell entered the courthouse presumed to be innocent. Now, I know sometimes it is hard to understand the presumption of innocence, so I'll try to make it real for you. Imagine the presumption of innocence to be like a coat that the defendant puts on. Now, in order for that coat to be completely off, state must prove beyond a reasonable doubt. It is not enough for the state to remove one sleeve or two sleeves. State's proof must be strong enough to remove the entire coat off, which in this case, state's evidence does not come even close. The state's case fails for two reasons. Evidence that is shown in this case shows that Sawyer Simpson is just as equally to have done the crime himself of placing the device in the property of the school. He called the police because he didn't want anyone to actually die. He just wanted to get Casey in trouble just as he did to Brady. Sawyer Simpson was also in the high school the same time he says he saw Casey Campbell peering into the trash can, which is in the vicinity of the public phone booth. That is opportunity. Cortez says that she saw Sawyer Simpson passing by in the parking lot the same time they received the call of the device. That is opportunity as well. Sawyer Simpson also knew that it was Casey Campbell, the one who went to a Cortez to talk about the complaints of his bullying acts. Sawyer wanted to get even. That is motive. Sawyer Simpson also bragged about his excellence in chemistry. Also, his Chemist of the Year award of the school. However, that also means that he had the knowledge and the access to the chemicals found in the device. That is means. Now, if you put in the opportunity, motive, and means together, the evidence points towards Sawyer. So, evidence that we have shown is sufficient to prove that Casey Campbell is innocent and that it is Sawyer Simpson who planned and already shown a pattern of planning against the victim. Second reason why you should call my victim not guilty, or my client not guilty, is because you have heard, as Dr. Killeen even agreed, that the bomb needed to be exposed to high concentrations of oxygen. The trash can didn't have that much of oxygen in it, since it probably would have been in the middle. It only would have made the trash can stink even more. And he also said that, Dr. Avery Atkinson also said that in order for the bomb to be exploded, it needed to be exposed to high concentration of oxygen. However, our atmosphere is only composed of 21%. Not pure like Dr. Killeen's test, that he pumped pure oxygen. To have make my victim, she has been proved to be innocent, not to be guilty, which the evidence points to Sawyer Simpson. The evidence I has found either way, it is not enough to point that she should be convicted of terrorism, to attempting to explode a bomb in intent with the murder, or even to be convicted of placing an offensive substance and thus place a public assemblage, since it was only doxine, a common cleaner agent, and paint thinner to clean paintbrushes. On behalf of my client, I would like to thank you guys to hear the evidence throughout the trial, and I would like to ask of you to call my victim, call my client not guilty. Thank you.
Very well, thank you very much, everyone. Now you can all take